And on that note, when last we saw our good friends, a lot of stuff happened. Mainly, Elise traveled to the oratory to speak with Maria. Whilst they were there, they were followed by a group of suspicious priests. Meanwhile, Arkham was across town in an art gallery having a bit of a meltdown. He ate everyone except his assistant. Barely. He also tried to play the piano, but that did not help. Father Dubois, the biggest proponent of the public transit system in Montreal, might be revisiting his stance after his impromptu descent into Malkavian hallucinations on the bus ride. And thank you so much, Bradley. 2 night moves to everyone. Bradley always coming in hot with the good stuff. Thank you, man.
I think we're at a total of 6 each now.
Oh, good. And finally, as they were fleeing the oratory and the priests that they saw there, Elise thought it prudent to take a good look at them with the use of her auspex. Terrible things then ensued, and Maria, who was revealed to be Salubri and not Ministry, attempted to heal Elise, and because of messy critical, ended up suffering final death herself. And that was the last thing that we saw. Last time that we gathered here. The unfortunate death of Maria. We will pick up tonight immediately after all that good stuff. A little sonnet by Hartley Coleridge. Sonnet 7. Is love a fancy or a feeling? No, it is immortal as immaculate truth. Is not a blossom shed as soon as youth drops from the stem of life, for it will grow in barren regions where no waters flow, no rays of promise cheats the pensive gloom. A darkling fire, faint over hovering o'er her tomb, that but itself and darkness not doth show. It is my love's being, yet it cannot die, nor will it change, though all be changed beside. Though fairest beauty be no longer fair, though vows be false and faith itself deny, though sharp enjoyment be a suicide, and a hope a spectre and a ruin bear. Love is a strange beast. It purports to be the sweetest, most tender of emotions, yet drives to madness, to violence, to bloodshed. It turns to hatred at a whisper and visits pain upon the heart and soul like no other emotion can. It makes actions taken and words said in its name the most wounding and vile things. It is a many-headed creature, and no other subject in the world has spilled so much ink as love. We kindred know nothing of love. What we often mistake for love is simply our unending hunger. In a certain slant of light, the two may seem kin to one another, but all they truly have in common is bloodshed. And so, to answer your question, do I love you? No, for I cannot. But I hunger for you. Let me wrap my mouth around you, pierce your skin with my fangs, drink deep of you, and see what a pale imitation of hunger love truly is. Father Dubois. At night, the Angus rail yards in Montreal become a surreal, forgotten world dotted with the tattered remains of rusted rail cars, their windows shattered, their paint long peeled away by weather and neglect. They sit half swallowed by weeds and wild grass, silent and hollow like the carcasses of extinct machines. The tracks, warped and uneven, glint dully under the occasional flicker of an old sodium streetlight, throwing long, uneasy shadows that dance when the wind stirs. The place hums with a low, almost imperceptible energy, part memory, part decay. Rats. So many rats scurry across the gravel paths, bold and numerous, their red eyes flashing briefly in the dark as they vanish into shadows. Somewhere in the distance, metal creaks. Slow, groaning sounds that could be rusted hinges in the wind or the whisper of something unseen dragging itself between the cars. Everything feels amplified at night. The silence, the stillness, the scent of iron and oil baked into the earth. The derelict buildings that loom nearby, once full of workers and steam, now stare out with black, empty windows like eyes half closed in sleep or sorrow. From nearby signs, garish neon light spills upon the yards, bathing sections of it in pinks, yellows, and purples, while other sections, hidden from the neons by the remnants of the roof, sit in silent shadows with occasional spotlights or swinging lanterns illuminating the dark. There's something faintly surreal about the place, much as with everything else since you got on that damn bus. Not a soul is around. Oh, wait. There is one. Just a bad dream, Padre.
One of these days, or nights, you're going to, like, I don't know, perhaps start a conversation with hello, but somehow I doubt that.
Well, me starting a conversation with hello would imply that I'd been gone, and we both know that I'm never actually really gone.
That is true. You are a voyeur at heart. Anyway.
That is true. That is my cross to bear.
No, that's not your cross to bear, but it's part of it. Definitely a nail.
I guess it would be your cross to bear.
Yes, you are my cross to bear.
What are we doing here anyways?
How heavy you are. Anyway.
I lost some weight. What are you talking about?
Physically, yes. Emotionally, no.
Well, since I'm only your guild talking to you, I mean, I guess that says pretty much a lot about you, don't it?
Are we in confessional? No, we're not. No. So, zip it. We're here because we're following a little mouse friend who seems to have caught our attention upon hurling ourselves at approximately 85 kilometers an hour at the front end of a bus. Though still the safest form of transportation within all of the greater city of Montreal, I feel needed to follow this particular mouse who showed a degree of sentience that I sometimes wish you had.
I stopped following you at hurling ourselves at outside the bus.
Yeah, I know.
It seems to be more rats this way. So why the rats? Why not like cats or something more savory?
You know, I think it probably is something to do with the individual controlling them, because they are most definitely not acting upon their own accord. I will say this much, though. I do so look forward to hearing what the sin of a king is. That will be delicious, no doubt.
I would think there are many. I mean, kings have a lot of stuff to do, you know?
I have a feeling that this particular king isn't necessarily a king himself, but one of those... Well, let's just say I wouldn't be surprised if we find a Burger King crown on his head when we meet him.
Burger King. What's that?
I hate you sometimes. I really do.
As you move further into the ancient rail yard, you eventually hear the sound of music playing. It sounds like an old record player, maybe, and the song is definitely, as you approach, an old French tune, maybe Edith Piaf or something of the like. It sounds old and ancient and French, and it kind of reverberates throughout the darkness here. And you can clearly see in one of the wagons that there are lights shining quite brightly from one of them.
Oh, I very much approach in all brashness.
You approach in all brashness. You find that the rats have quite congregated here. There are many of them glittered all throughout the place, climbing along the train, coming out the windows, out the door, running underneath it. And you step up on to the train itself. When you walk in, you see that it's been rearranged. Many of the seats and whatnot have been taken out. There's some sort of a little kitchen area that's been built with a table and a couple of chairs around it. There's an old, burner. You can see that there's a little generator now you can hear outside that is running rather. You can see a little cot, a bed. There's a little bookcase with a bunch of different books. There are a bunch of candles littered around the area, and the remnants of so many other candles with the wax kind of all melted down. And nearby, sitting in one of the armchairs under a light, with a book in hand, you see this man who appears to be a fairly young man, dressed in several layers of clothes, most of them rags or hand-me-downs. Very obviously, he's got like 3 or 4 flannel shirts and big old work boots that are clearly like ancient. He's got a couple of rats kind of kicking around the area with him. And when you walk in, he pulls off these little round reading glasses that he's got, and he folds them neatly and closes his book, and he's like, "Finally we meet. Father Dubois, such a pleasure."
Yes. We meet at last, for the first time, for the last time, for the first time.
Well, we've met in your dreams.
Is that you?
Some of them.
Hmm.
Would you like to sit?
Like, is there actually a clean seat, or is everything pretty much dirty?
Everything's pretty dirty. You have a nice handkerchief probably in your pocket you could, if you wanted, put down.
I must keep the company of whores and pimps, just as the good Lord intended. And he sits down, and he just sits down, and he just... You must be the Rat King, yes?
That is what some of them call me, yes.
Have you perhaps considered something other than rats?
I didn't choose them. They chose me. There's something about rats and their ubiquitousness in a city that makes them very ideal for gathering information.
Yes, but not everybody likes rats.
No, but they're pretty good at hiding also.
So are cats, and they're a bit more nimbly as well.
Yeah, but when people see a cat, they have a tendency to want to take it home with them.
Well, then you'd have ears in every home, but that's neither here nor the point. Why do you want to see me?
I wanted to talk about the Grey Nun.
I hope you have something good to tell me.
I was rather hoping you would have something to tell me. I hear she has passed on.
Regrettably so. A truly bright star of the night sky has been plucked out, and her Her blood orgies will be that of legend and memory now.
He frowns a little bit at that. He's like, yes, I heard that her condition had made her a bit less, well, a bit more
Enlightened, yes.
horrifying is what I was going to say, but yes.
Mm.
So I knew her before she became one of you.
Oh.
Long time ago.
If that's the case, then you are no Rat King. Who are you?
I am the Rat King now, but was not always thus. Father Dubois, I'm ill. I'm ill and have been for some time. My dreams are haunted. Visions of despair, decay, death. Been this way for decades now, since the late 70s. And I'm afraid
What
it's
a
getting
time.
worse. Can't say that I have much faith or trust in your kind, but I did have trust for, and I liked the one you knew as the Grey Nun very much. We went way back, and now that she's gone, I was reminded of something she said in one of our several discussions that you were the subject of.
Me? Well, now you have my attention. What wonderful and hopefully detailed things did she say about me?
She said that she believed there was a morsel of good left in you.
Yep, I believe his name was Frank.
Is that a cannibal joke?
No, but it is now.
I see. I wanted to speak with you because the Grey Nun suggested that you would be the person to talk to if she was not around. I believe she thought that you might, in some way, shape, or form, rise up to assume the mantle of leadership amongst your people that she had, although that is for you to decide. I care about this city very, very much. I've always done so, and even when it was nothing but a wooden palisade and a pile of furs. I wanted to give you a warning to bring back to your people.
My people? Are you referring to me and my close confidant here? And he, literally gestures to probably nothing standing next to him. Or are you referring to those blessed by God?
I was referring to you call yourselves kindred, I do believe.
Yes, those blessed by God. Those who will be as immortal as he. Yes, why?
Interesting. Perhaps we will tackle that particular subject another time. The warning that I wanted to give you is about the Lady in Blue.
You have my complete and undivided attention.
Her name is Calomé de Troyes. She was my disciple a very long time ago, lover even centuries ago. I believe she's returned, and with it her dreams of death and decay. I don't know whether you actually will care. The city may simply be a rotting graveyard for you for all I know, but the Grey Nun cared, and so in case you do too, I want to tell you that interfering with Calomé is the best way to reduce her influence on this city. And then perhaps our dreams, yours and mine, can be filled with hope again, rather than the darkness they've been filled with.
Tell me something. Is this Kashmir the Twat your close confidant, or is she an enemy?
At this point, I would say more the latter.
Good.
But I do not have the means to interfere with her myself.
What do you mean?
There are things that she can do that are quite beyond my means.
So, if she's as old as you, or perhaps older, is kind of the gist of what you're implying, how would we go about of reducing her influence?
I wish I could tell you. Now, I know where you can find her. You have to look for her in the pyramid.
Is she fragile?
In a matter of speaking,
Excellent.
her physical self is no more resilient than any other human who walks the streets, but her other capabilities are quite remarkable.
But she does sleep and she does eat, yes?
Yes. As I do.
You should come to church and partake of communion.
I would very much like to. St. James, is it?
It is. It is. You can't miss a giant neon sign.
Perhaps I will visit you there.
I would greatly look forward to it. Though, I do have one final question before I depart. Your lordship, I guess? I don't know. Really, there's only one Lord, and his name is Jesus Christ, and you're not him, as far as I can tell.
No, I'm not. I can assure you of that much.
How do I know that you're not trying to lead me into some sort of a trap?
Well, I've already lured you here. And nothing untoward has happened to you, so...
I came of my own free will, thank you.
Yes, you did. I'm merely wanting to impart upon you the fact that a city lives and dies on the hopes and dreams of its citizens. And regardless of what you may or may not think of the humans, you're a citizen also. And your fate is tied to that of the city. You should think on it.
Oh, I know. I am greatly invested in this city. I want nothing more than this city to bloom from its rotten decay within. I want it to once again be seen as the city of 1,000 steeples, where faith and worship and sin are right within every street.
Well, perhaps you'll yet have your dream.
That is the hope.
But at least it would be your dream and not the dream of Calumet and her infernal desires.
No one likes a triangle.
Thank you for coming. I truly appreciate it. And if you were to hold any sort of service for the Grey Nun, I would appreciate a heads up. I would appreciate being there.
Wednesday, midnight.
I'll be there.
You, of course, are not required to take communion, though I will ask of you to do one small token to ensure that the others present understand that you are a guest and you are not to be toyed with. No. You very well may be molested, but toyed with, on the other hand, is a whole other matter. I would ask that you simply mark an index finger on your right hand black. They'll know that this means to not toy with you.
Very well. I appreciate the concern and the tip. the finger.
I look forward to seeing you again at service. Though understand that while I greatly appreciate all this information that you've brought to me, I must confer with my other half here and make sure that everything's okay and on the up and up, and because he can see into your thoughts unlike I can in certain ways, because he's the crazy one. And so, yes, but I think I might have the perfect wrathful instrument to help us take care of whatever her name is.
I hope that your efforts bear fruit. We're all counting on you, Father.
And I will do my part. All part of God's plan. Now, remember, he's always watching, especially when you're masturbating. Good night!
You stand up, and as you turn around to go, you feel the train rock a little bit as somebody else steps onto the train. You see a young woman, dark hair, fair skin, who seems a little bit surprised to see you there. Says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you had visitors. Oh, the good father was just leaving us, Miriam." You can definitely tell that she's kindred.
I don't believe I've had the pleasure.
My name is Miriam.
Are you new?
Or
are you from that dreadful place below?
She looks over at the Rat King and he shrugs and she says, if I get your meaning correctly, I'm new.
Service on Wednesday, St. James. Hope to see you there, darling. Communion for everybody.
Yes, absolutely. Nice to meet you, Father.
Likewise, I definitely hope to see you around.
She moves aside so that you can exit.
I like this one. She seems homely.
She's had very difficult beginnings, but we're working on it.
I think he kind of just nods and heads out at that.
As you step out of the train, there's a bit of a bump, and you look up. You're on the bus. I think we missed our stop, Padre.
How do they do that? How do they do that?
You were snoozing.
I was not asleep.
You're snoozing. I saw you. You were snoring.
No. First off, I don't snore. Okay, all right. This passageway is clear. I spent many years correcting it. Thank you.
For someone who doesn't need to breathe, you actually snore a lot.
I hate you with every fiber of my being.
Where are we going?
Home. Home, Jeffrey. Home.
And he yells to the bus driver, "Home, Jeffrey!" No one hears. You look at the bus driver. It's the one who threw himself off the bus earlier.
Oh, no. Is he alive?
It seems to be, yes.
Oh, well, that's perfect. Excuse me, sir. I seem to have missed my stop. Could you drop me at the next one, please, so I can figure out where in this shitbox of a city that I live I'm at so I can make my way back home?
Just ring the bell whenever you need to stop, Father.
Ring, ring.
He glares at you in the thing and eventually pulls over at the next stop.
I think on his way out, he takes whatever he has in his pocket, which is probably like two crumpled up fives and a couple of loons, and just drops them down, and then just like, have a nice night. God be with you.
You step out into the night. A few nights later, as the father has repatriated himself home safely. A few nights later, back at, There we go. A few nights later, atop the building known as the Overlook, where the Prince of Montreal holds court, there are a few very, very stubborn leaves that are refusing to fall off of a branch that is currently sticking out of the chest of Soriana Indigo. We'll recall that Soriana was staked by the prince for having created progeny. But while she had permission to do so, she had not cleared with the prince who should be embraced, and had embraced Maria. During that meeting, Maria was given to Arkham to mentor, to get her away from the Tremere, and Soriana was staked, and was to remain staked as long as there were leaves on the branch that pierced her heart. It's hell being staked, Soriana. It's hell because for most of it, you are aware of what is going on around you. You were present when they had their meeting. You saw your progeny, Maria, be given away to Arkham. You heard them talk about you. You've since seen very little of the prince. There seems to have been some kind of catastrophe that happened in the city a few nights ago, and the place has been mostly deserted, and you don't know what's worse. To have people around talking and moving and lights and sounds to occupy you, or to be left in darkness, unable to move. And then you see it. Slight movement in the shadows. And that movement grows and grows, and eventually out of the shadows, looking around him, is someone you haven't seen in several decades. Father Diego Ramos. It's been a very, very long time since you've seen him. As you watch him approach you, being very careful, being very quiet, keeping an eye out, making sure no one's about, what's going through your mind, Brianna?
A lot and too much, and not enough at the same time. Soriana wouldn't know how long it had been since she had been staked. She can try and count the ins and outs of the prince's people, but there's only so many numbers you can hold in your head. Every movement sometimes felt like a relief, and sometimes she dreaded it. But seeing the face of Diego made her wonder if she had truly lost it at this point. And her eyes were wide, trying to search in the dark for anything else that could lend credence to whether she went insane or not. But what else could she do except just wait?
And he approaches you, and in his eyes you can see a mixture of happiness at seeing you again, but also the sadness at seeing your current state. There's one thing that's not absent, though, and that's dedication. He moves very swiftly towards where you are, and he says in Spanish, "I'll get you down. Just give me a moment." And he reaches up and cradles you in his arms. You are hanging a few feet off the ground, staked to this branch, and he reaches up and very gently cradles you in his arms, and he says, "I'm very sorry, this is going to hurt." And without a moment's hesitation, and with superhuman strength, pulls you off the branch. As he does, the remaining leaves rip off and all slowly scatter to the ground, and for the first time in almost a month now, you feel slowly your limbs begin to unclench and unfreeze. and there's a stiffness in them that you recall only from your living days. But he brings you down to the ground as he still cradles you and holds you while your strength returns to you.
She takes a deep gasp, obviously in vain. She wouldn't need to, but the senses returning to her, along with the pain and the disbelief that this has even happened. It all just comes out in that one inhale as she clings on to him, unsure of, can she even rely on her touch, her senses? And she looks at him. Diego?
I've so often imagined what it would be like to see you again, Shifa, and none of my wildest imaginings was anything remotely like this.
How did you know I'm sorry. Where were you?
I've been traveling, and I eventually heard of a miracle occurring here in Montreal at the oratory. A person that they were calling the Weeping Madonna in the nave of the oratory, healing people, and of course you understand that I immediately assumed it was you.
How did you know I was here? How did you even get in?
I've met a few people while here. I was desperately looking to find answers to see who it was that was at the oratory. Half of me hoped it was you, half of me dare not even imagine that. Turns out that it wasn't, but when I visited the oratory with a strange Malkavian named Father Dubois, I saw you. I was very, very clearly given a message from on high. I was shown where you were. I was shown what was happening to you, and while I didn't know who had been in the nave, I now knew where you were, and I was not going to let you stay like this.
You know what they'd do to you if they found out. I should be saying thank you.
I took all of that into account, and the one thing I have going is most of them don't know I'm in the city yet. I'm with a few other of my blood, and we've been hiding in the oratory. Only a few of the kindred here know of us. But this will definitely be problematic. There are many things happening. At the oratory, I saw human priests with strange powers. There's an array of people gathering against kindred in the city. You need to leave. You need to leave the city right away.
I need to find my child first.
Your child?
It's a long story. I made a mistake. And you need to leave too, but I can't leave without her.
I can't leave just yet. I have a few things I have to do, but I will help however I can. And if something happened in the city a few nights ago, the prince and everybody else has been deeply occupied with it. You probably have a small window of opportunity, but I wouldn't dally.
There are more important things than me right now. But I will try and leave as soon as I can, as soon as I finish what I need to do, but if you leave too, find me where we first met.
I can be there in a few weeks. Perhaps a month on the outside.
Can you promise me?
Absolutely. As God is my witness.
And she'll pull him into one last embrace and hold him as if he was sand about to slip through her fingers. But there's just something in the back of her mind that tells her this might be the last time.
Come, I'll help you get out. We'll stick to the shadows and be safe enough to leave. You know your way around town, I assume, by now.
I do.
Don't go to your regular haunts as soon as they realize you're gone. Those are first places they'll...
I don't think you realize how long I've spent in hiding.
I know.
You don't need to tell
you're
me.
quite adept at it. I myself couldn't find you for a very long time.
I'm sorry.
No, I understand why you did it. I hold no grudge. I'm just hopeful that we'll have a better chance. Come, give me your hand. Let's get out
She
of here.
takes his hand.
And he guides you out, stepping through shadows and along darkened hallways, and you encounter very little resistance. It appears the place is empty. If this is the eye that sits atop the city that watches everything, there's no one watching right now. And outside, he gives you the keys to a vehicle. And after a moment's hesitation, gives you a nod and disappears again. And turns just long enough to say, Concepcion. Good luck finding your child. Oh, ask her if she's the weeping Madonna. Been dying to know.
I will do. Look after yourself.
And you. And he disappears off into the shadows. What do you do?
I will, first of all, find a place to feed. Being staked for over a month, she can feel the hunger crawling up her throat, but she's not one to prey on those that don't consent themselves. And so in the car, she will drive and look for those who are less fortunate than she. But she doesn't prey on the downtrodden, the homeless, but she'll linger outside of bars or even the parking lots of hospitals and find those who are alone. She'll step out of the car and find someone to speak to and offer to hear their ailments, and in return, she promises them a kiss.
You find that the city has changed in the month since you've been away. There seems to be even more of a lethargy. People are fewer and further between. Things feel dire. There are police everywhere. You wonder if there is some sort of curfew, perhaps. As you travel downtown, you see that there is a major excavation going on St. Catherine Street. You're not sure exactly what happened, but there seems to be a pall that has settled on this city that has made it even more downtrodden than it had been in a while. You find someone easy enough to slake your thirst on. As always, they are thankful when they're done. Where would you like to go?
The most important thing to her right now is to find her child. And in the Princess Tower, she heard that Arkham was made to look after her. And so she will go find him.
And as you drive through the city, heading towards Arkham's home, Elise, It's a few nights since the events at the oratory. It's dark. Then you see yourself. You're sitting in the car. Fletcher is kneeling on the floor in front of you, recoiling as sunlight pours out of you. You're seeing this from someone else's eyes. And then you hear Maria's voice.
Now is not your time. I got you. Don't worry.
Maria?
You watch through her eyes as she leans forward, kisses you, and swallows the sun spilling from your mouth. The pain is atrocious, the worst you've ever felt. And then the pain is gone. And you hear her voice one more time says, "You're safe." You open your eyes, Maria's voice still echoing in your ears. You're in your bath. It's been 2 nights since Maria died, yet you can't shake this vision every time you close your eyes. You look at your skin, how perfect and unmarred it is from the light that hurt you, as if it never happened. Your eyes follow the expert black lines drawn by Fletcher into your flesh, those inspired by Trois Echelles, those from Fletcher himself, symbols of both his devotion to you and your belonging to him. You notice something strange. One of the symbols from Trois Echelles has begun to change. The one you associated with Seb, Laurence's twin, who was killed by Father Dubois. It's changing, moving. Something is happening. What's going through your mind?
Sadness. A deep well of sadness that her voice in these moments only seem to carve further out of the hole in my heart. And she looks at those markings put in her by Fletcher. And there's a moment of reprieve. The darkness slinks back. The grief washes away, and she watches in curiosity as those markings move, fluctuate across her skin. Perhaps this is the distraction that she needed. These past 3 days have been so difficult.
The door opens. Fletcher's there with your bathrobe and your towel. You're gonna turn into a prune. You ready to come out?
I suppose. She slowly stands and steps out of the tub.
He dries you off and... Well, that's new.
It only just started to happen. What do you think it means?
Well, they've generally started moving when you've been close to one of the people that they were calling, so maybe
I'd
some
say
things
it's
about
dead.
that happen. Yes. But it's changing, it's not disappearing, it's turning into something else.
Do you think a new one will take his place?
I think that Twazisha's will has crossed hundreds and hundreds of years to get to this point. And this is probably the closest it has come to fruition, and I do not think he's going to be denied simply because one or two people have gone. Trees branch out near the bottom. There will be many roots for the ritual to find. I know that Maria especially was important to you, and I don't know that she can ever be replaced, but perhaps another one will take her place.
I'd never thought of having a child, making one of my own. I've only ever needed you, and you alone. But when she was around, I thought her like a child. I taught her like one.
She was lucky to have met you even for the brief time, and I think her sacrifice is evidence that she felt strongly about you also.
When it happened, it's like she came inside of me, in my mind. And there was this light. The sun. She showed me the sun. How did she do that? How is that possible?
The Salubri, her bloodline, have long held the secrets of healing, the secrets of Golconda even. There's a treacherous history between our clan and theirs. The details are not very clear, but it was our clan that initiated the calls for hunts on them that saw most of them get exterminated in the Dark Ages. They were believed to be diabolists because they had this ability to take people's souls. Depending on who you listen to, some of them do it so that they can heal, but the Tremere propaganda machine was very powerful back then. Look what's become of the clan, but it is believed that they could touch a power different than the rest of us touch. In some ways, the antithesis of what the La Sombra deal with. And clarity of vision, powers to soothe the beast, powers to heal wounds even.
How poetic that she should choose to sacrifice her life for that of a Tremere.
You know him well enough to know that there's something on his mind right now as he's talking about all of this. You can tell that he's kind of being intentionally vague, perhaps, or skirting certain things, not so much hiding things as just not approaching them.
Fletcher, are you holding something back from me? You know you can't do that.
I know there's a story to be told in there, but I don't think that now's the time. Soon. You know, I'll tell you everything. I just think we need to focus on a few other things first, and then we'll have stories. I'll I want you to know is that I would not have hurt her. I had no intentions of hurting her. I would not.
I wouldn't think that you would do such a thing.
But others would. The rest of our clan, many in our clan would, without hesitation, have hunted her down. In fact, now that we know about her sire being Salubri and non-ministry, I think I understand now why she was hiding. She must have been hiding for a very long time.
Well, if you were trying to hide, then why make a child and set her free? Stupid to the world. Why would you be so ignorant?
You never wanted a child. Never thought of it in any case. I never wanted a child either. I spent a lot of time, a great many decades, just traveling the world, hunting through ancient ruins and discovering secrets and unearthing mysteries. And then I saw you in that little gallery painting, and from that moment, I knew there was nothing as important as having you by my side for the rest of my years of having a child. There's something, sometimes you see someone and it just won't be denied. Maybe you'll have the same someday.
But she abandoned her.
Difficult to understand exactly what happened. I think that it's easy to judge when we don't have all the details. I always say, you don't start reading the scroll until you know for certain what it's going to do when you're done reading it.
Is it strange that I should still see Maria, hear her?
No, you came very close to her soul when she took you in. In many ways, it's very much like humans feel when they have a loss. Also, I think maybe you just need to give it a bit of time and maybe, it's going to sound weird, but maybe talk to her. Remember when we used to take our walks in Notre-Dame-des-Neiges cemetery at night, how beautiful and peaceful that vast sepulchre of death is?
I do.
Perhaps you should go hang out among the ghosts there for a bit. See if it shakes out anything, or if it either brings rest to Maria or engages her in revealing more.
I think this is a very nice plan. You always know what to do.
Take Faraday with you, would you?
Well, of course. Who else is going to drive me there? I'm not going to do it on my own, am I?
There's a lot of dangers right now. There was Aegis, now there's this Gladius Day. The city is very dangerous. Be very careful. Don't be out too late.
Of course not.
I have plans, things we need to do to prepare. I think we can't count on the chantry anymore. We need to shore up our own defenses. I'll be drawing up some plans and we'll talk when you return.
Very well. But let's not only talk, save time for a little bit of fun later. Maybe I could use it.
Of course.
Oh, this planning.
And he
Very well.
reaches out and just grabs your chin between his thumb and forefinger. It's the first time in a long time that you felt a loss so keenly. Allow yourself to feel it. Allow yourself to get familiar with it, know it. Cherish the memories you have of her. You may not feel loss so keenly again for a very long time. It's an emotion worth cherishing.
A look and a thought. She leans in and kisses him.
And usually Fletcher, unless you're in the middle of actually playing, is very exact in his demonstrations of love. They're quick, they're nice, but and for the first time in a long time, outside of a very real play session, he displays quite an amount of emotion as he pulls you close to him. And he just gives you a hug, and he just holds you.
She just melts against him, trying not to sully her freshly cleaned cheeks with streaks of blood.
Meanwhile, Arkham. It's been a few nights. Cleaning up the mess at the gallery took some crafty doing, with Constance in no state to handle things. But you got it done. She's been holed up in her room since then, shell-shocked. You got a message from Anika, a time and place to meet in a few nights. You haven't experienced other fugue states. But what have you been doing?
I think Arkham's been busying himself at the art gallery. Idle hands, you know. We don't want to have another episode, so he's kind of kept himself well fed. Unfortunately, with blood bags, because I can't afford another episode. He has this weird, almost excitement to speak to Anika, but he's kind of keeping it pretty close to the chest. He's really worried about Constance.
You're at home. You have a record playing. You've tried to talk to Constance, and she's told you that she's almost ready, but she still needs a bit of time, and you can tell there's a bit of fear in her voice. Fear of you, fear of what might happen. The phone rings. It's the ring from the front desk downstairs.
Great. Yeah.
Good evening, sir. There's a lady here to see you.
Okay.
Her name is
Sure.
Indigo. Is that correct, ma'am? Soriana Indigo.
Excuse me?
I believe that's the name. Is that correct, Miss Soriana Indigo? Yes, it's Soriana Indigo.
Yeah, you send them up.
Very well, sir. You watch as the man at the counter hangs up and says, elevators are right there. You're going up to the penthouse.
Thank you. And she's wearing a wide-brimmed hat, probably useless at night, but obviously to cover the third eye as she heads to the elevator.
You ride up. What are you doing in the meantime, Arkham, as she's coming up?
He hangs up the phone and he looks at the ground and goes, fuck. He flips the record fluffs the pillows, lights an incense, and then goes to grab a knife. and he's like, he's kind of like hyping himself up. He's like, all right, she got off the stake. I don't know how. If she got off the stake, that means there's something wrong with the prince. I'm gonna have to take this bitch out. That's what I'm going to do. All right, here we go. Ooh.
There's a slight knock at your door.
Second. One second. Opens it up, just a little crack. Hi.
Hi. I imagine I'm the last person you want to see right now.
Yeah, you are. How did you get down from where you were?
So you knew where I was?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Does everyone know where I was?
No, I wouldn't say everybody does, but there were a group of people there who saw it happen, I being one of them.
Okay. Can I come in?
I don't know, Soriana, can you?
It's your house. I'll leave.
Am I notice? No, hold on. Above table, am I noticing that there's a different...
Her demeanor is
air
completely
about them?
different. She's like almost like smaller.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on in. He opens the door wider.
And she comes in kind of like tucked into herself, just like trying to be as respectful as possible given their past.
I think when you walk in and you kind of turn around to kind of face Arkham, you see him holding a knife and he's like, my assistant Constance is here and she actually eats. So I
understand. It's okay. As long as you put it down, maybe?
Yeah. It closes, locks the door, puts the knife down in the kitchen. It's a silly question, but how are you?
Better.
Are you hungry?
No, I ate. Thank you. I'll get right to the point. I sense you're under a lot of... It doesn't matter. Do you know where Maria is?
Oh, of course. That's why. No, I don't. She tends to go out to find inspiration and supplies. Granted, this one is a bit of a longer excursion than normal. She's usually back within the night. It's been a couple days, but...
You haven't... Sorry, I want to apologize first. Fuck it. My name is Shifa. And she pulls off the hat, where a third eye is looking at you very apologetically.
Oh. Do you mind if I sit down? I'm going to do it
It's
anyway,
your house.
I live here. Yeah, it's my house. Okay. Shifa? Is it what she said?
Well, don't say it outside of this room, but yes. And all that stuff I said to you, that was not... I didn't... It was an act, and you were unfortunately part of the performance that you didn't know you were a part of. Listen, I need to find Maria. And there's a lot I need to say to her. And it's very important, and all I know is that she was entrusted to you.
You're not lying. This isn't a ploy to try to get me off of my guard so you can stake me.
I asked you to put the knife away. It would have been easier to... If it was closer. No, I'm not lying. Are you alright?
Okay. Ooh, that's such a weighted question. No, but I mean, that's a me thing, I guess.
Okay.
Again, she hasn't been here for a few days. I don't know why, but I can imagine she has been busy, I should say, while she's been here.
Listen, I'm not... I understand if you want to hold things back from me and don't want to tell me.
Come on.
And I just wanted...
It's not that.
Okay.
I'm still trying to digest what this is, because before your whatever, your nap, however you want to classify it, it was a lot of... I would have had an easier time saying this to you before.
Do you want me to turn around?
Bitch. No, I live here. It's fine. And I'm still a little bit off-put by how you're approaching, but I appreciate it.
I think you can kind of... Again, I apologize, but I'm sure you can understand the...
Well, can I show you
For what
something?
it's worth, Sorry?
Please continue.
No, it's your house.
As you say that, your phone rings, Arkham.
Sorry. Hello.
Arkham. Father Dubois here. I was wondering if I might steal a few minutes of your time.
Excuse me for a moment. Have a seat. I'll be back in a second. He goes off to his back room. What the fuck do you want?
I wanted to talk to you. I have a mutually beneficial arrangement of which I would like to seek your help in, kind of a I scratch your back, you scratch mine kind of thing. And I'm not very good at negotiating these particular things, especially those of your stature and mine.
What do you need? Money for the church? What do you need? I'm in the middle of something. What?
Well, did I catch you at a bad time?
Kinda.
Are you okay? You sound a little distressed.
That's just my normal tone. What do you need, Padre?
I know who killed the Grey Nun, and I need your wrath, if I'm being perfectly honest. In exchange, I'll teach you how to turn it off.
Turn what off?
The wrath.
If you need a favor, that's fine, but you don't have to pay me in Bible verses.
No, I'm being quite literal, Arkham. You have a problem, and I have the ability to solve it. Only you can do it at your command, with a little guidance. I'm offering that in exchange for your services. You see, I need a righteous hand of God to enact vengeance, and you are so very beautiful when you do so.
Can you really help me with this?
I guarantee it.
All right, where do you want me to meet? Yeah.
Wherever is most comfortable for you. I can come to your home. I'm out wandering the streets as it is this evening.
No. I'll meet you at your church.
You're going to come to Mass? This brings me so much joy, you don't even know.
I'm already regretting this. Yeah, I'll come to Mass. That's fine. Do you need anything else? I really have to go.
Yes. I hope you are well, and I hope whatever is pulling you away is insightful or something. I don't know. Oh, Jessica! Hey, no. You don't need to. No.
Okay, that's wonderful, Father. Bye. He kind of like pokes out of the room again. He's like, "Ha, sorry. That was my friend, Father Dubois. We don't have to talk about it.
We don't.
I really don't know where Maria is, and honestly, if I did, I'd be more comfortable with her being here than out and about. But, this is very uncomfortable. You may want to reach out to someone by the name of Elise. I do have their contact information if you need it.
Elise.
Yeah. Elise met with me previously a couple nights ago, wanting me to give her Maria.
You passed Maria on?
No, I didn't. I don't. Elise has a thing about them that's strange, but aren't we all? And I don't like people demanding things of me. And yeah.
Okay.
Great tattoos, terrible attitude.
Can I speak out of turn for a second?
Sure.
Again, I mean this with all due respect, but I sense something within you that it's more than just pain, it's anger. I don't. Something unlike you. Are you all right?
I must be that transparent because you're the second person tonight to ask me that. No, I'm not. I'm not all right at all. Definitely would be the last person to tell you this. I don't know what's going on with me. I have fits of blackout that when I wake up from are just completely covered in rage and viscera, right? You would think that maybe like a young kindred would enjoy something like this. It's kind of like, akin to those stupid Blade movies that everybody thinks is true, right?
You don't have to deflect it with humor. I can see.
I don't know any other way.
She'll timidly, of course, try and approach Arkham and put a hand on his face as if to see something like within him, almost peering inside. I can help you.
Can you? That's also the second time someone said that to me today. How?
My clan has gifts. I was a healer once. Before I was a, what did you call it? Stone cold bitch?
Yeah. I appreciate the offer, but I've already had one person rooting around in my head for a little bit, and I have enough trouble maintaining it myself.
I promise you won't see me again after today. The least I can do is try.
Okay. What's the worst that could happen? My assistant's back there. If I, for some reason, go off the handle, you have full permission to I just don't want to hurt my assistant.
Do you want to ask her to leave?
No, I prefer that she stays here. It's probably the safest.
Okay.
Funny.
And Soriana will try and use Panacea.
As you reach out and lay your hands on Arkham, what is the father doing now that he has made his phone call?
He is making his rounds, for lack of a better term. He has been neglectful in the past few nights to check on his flock, to look in on them and make sure that they are taking the proper precautions, as usual, making sure that they're fed and taken care of, making sure they're not having any issues with any clientele, passing around prophylactic to make sure that they're safe.
The congregation seems to be doing terrible. There's a lot of worry about some of the things that have been going on in the city. The streets are like... The thing it reminds you the most of is the pandemic, when the streets were empty and it was kind of like a ghost town. It's kind of what it's becoming again slowly. People are afraid. The explosion in the metro talks of either terrorists or secret government agencies or this, that, the other. There's a palpable feeling of fear and paranoia in the air, and people are kind of staying away and kind of staying off the streets. And I'd say you probably run into about half the flock you would expect to kind of run into. And everyone's feeling really dispirited. Everyone's feeling very depressed, very glum, worse than you've seen it.
I think he would do everything in his power at this particular point to try and cheer them up. I mean, do not worry. There's a meal, a hot meal for each of you over at St. James, a warm place to sleep. Everything will be fine. Everything will come back to rights. But there's a new project coming in town, I hear. Something about a giant pyramid building. I'm sure it'll bring in more workers and more revenue and things along those lines. And definitely there will, I have no doubt, be an abundance of cocks for you all to suck. It'll be fine.
They seem a little perked up by that. They are your flock after all. And after a couple hours, you've certainly managed to make the rounds of the rather anemic flock that you've kind of encountered. And as you're kind of finishing those rounds, your shadow says, "Did everyone just die or something?"
I don't know. This isn't quite right. Normally the streets are a bit more bustling, and I'm really unsure as to what to take from all of this.
Maybe it's the lady in blue.
I'm going to kill her. Anyway, so perhaps it could be. But could she really exert this kind of influence over so many people?
No. You know what it reminded me of a little bit? That idiot was talking. It reminded me a little bit so on TikTok, right? When you go on TikTok.
What's that?
It's this thing the kids like. It's this website, and people, it's either they do really informative things like how to open a can or how to cook a steak or make nachos, or they do really stupid stuff like fucking dances and sea shanties. I don't know. I just follow along here, all right? So on TikTok and places like that, they have this this thing where they at some point a rumor they call it going viral, and then this rumor will spread or whatever, and then
the plague.
Yeah, exactly. Except it's kind of like a plague of the mind. It's it's not like a plague, like a physical thing, like the COVID thing. It's more like a plague of the mind. Like this idea will take off, and then people will believe it. So, for example, at some point, the whole thing was eating Tide Pods.
The detergent?
Yeah. So that stupidity kind of spreads, and then everyone's kind of affected. So it's kind of like what it felt like. Like there's something in the airwaves that this bitch is doing that is like going into people's dreams and giving them nightmares, and then people wake up and they're all like, oh man, life's fucking terrible, life's fucking shit, I'm not going to do anything about yada yada. You know, it's kind of like a virus of the mind, you know?
If she's in everyone's dreams, as you're implying, that means you can find her while I'm sleeping.
Well, I'd have to stay up.
You can stay up. That's never been a problem.
No. Man, the things I get up to when you're asleep sometimes, oh boy.
Yeah, no, only this time I need you to focus a little bit. And I think in this moment, he's staring in like a reflective window, right? Like he's having a serious Green Goblin moment right now as he's like staring into this window.
When you look at him, he's changed a little bit in the last little while. He's looking a little wilder and a little bit more unhinged than he used to.
You don't look so good.
Well, you know, we've kind of been burning the candle at both ends there, bud.
Well, we have, and I'll make a deal with you.
Oh boy.
You seem a little pent up. All right. You know who not to touch and who to stay away from and who's important to us at this particular point in time. So, if you're willing to stay up while I sleep to see if you can find out anything more about this particular woman in blue, you can have the rest of the night.
Oh. Wasn't there a song? Woman in blue is dancing with you. No?
Adding one thing to the list, you are forbidden from going to karaoke.
Yeah. There's one thing I'm not sure about.
What's that? What is that?
Before you give me the wheel, maybe it's best to discuss it. I'm not sure if we're trying to kill or fuck Elise. Which one are we trying to do?
We're not trying to do, God, both of those sound so entertaining. But regardless, no, she must be kept alive, because there are bigger machinations at work for her. You understand that she is Lilith reborn, yes? She may not see it yet, she may not understand it yet, but once we break that interesting tie she has to humanity that makes her oh so sweet and innocent and just downright apple of your eye, then she will become what she needs to become. But for the time being, don't fuck with her. And the rest of them are fine, just not her.
How are we gonna do that though? Because not to like act like you're shrink or anything, but you tend to have a lot of like goals, but not a lot of plans to reach them.
I'm a big ideas kind of guy.
Yeah. All right, so
but
you giving me the wheel?
To answer your question,
yeah,
she's already on that path, whether she realizes it or not. She just needs a little extra nudge in the right direction from time to time.
You really think Lilith's gonna be reborn as a Tremere, though? I mean, they weren't even vampires to begin with, you know what I'm saying?
And neither was Lilith. She was a wizard.
Holy fuck.
Oh, what do you know? It's amazing how circles work, isn't it? They go round and round. Like the buses on the wheels. The wheels on the bus go round and round. And she was riding the bus. Follow the logic. There you go. Have a nice night.
And as things happen to Father Dubois, we find Elise where? Does Elise make her way to
the cemetery?
the cemetery?
She does. She does. I imagine she got herself dressed in her finest black garb, her mourning attire, and had Faraday drive her to the cemetery.
At night, the cemetery Notre-Dame-des-Neiges in Montreal transforms into a silent cathedral of shadows and stone. City's distant hum fades, replaced by the hushed whispers of wind threading through ancient trees and weather-worn mausoleums. Under the moon's pale light, the cemetery stretches out like a forgotten poem. Its rows of crosses and angels cast long, solemn silhouettes across the frost-laced grass. The names and dates inscribed upon them, many faded to nothing like ghosts, tell stories of lives lived, echoes and whispers of memories and death. Towering evergreens stand like mourners, their limbs gently swaying as if ushering the spirits of the dead in slow motion. The air is cool and still as you move through, perfumed faintly by pine and old earth. Marble saints and sorrowful Madonnas, which unfortunately remind you of Maria, peer through the gloom with eyes carved in eternal lament, while ivy clings to their pedestals like memory refusing to fade. Here and there, flickers of candlelight glimmer from votives left behind, small offerings of warmth in a sea of dusk. The Gothic architecture of family tomb looms with quiet grandeur, arched doorways, iron gates, and stone engravings softened by time. They seem more alive than the world beyond, holding secrets in their silence. It's peaceful, but it's also full of presence, the kind that makes you feel not alone but accompanied by something unknowable, as if the souls resting beneath the earth are watching gently, curiously from just beyond the veil. Not threatening, simply present. The cemetery doesn't frighten you, of course, it just invites reflection on the weight of memory, on the beauty of endings, on the quiet dignity of the night. Still, Maria's voice lingers. You're safe now. What do you do?
She strolls quietly through the cemetery, stopping at the occasional headstone to brush off fallen leaves or write a fallen flower arrangement. The voice of Maria playing at the back of her mind as she tries to remember every detail of her face. The lines at the corner of her eyes, the way she smiled that last time she saw her, the way her voice sounds. Anything. Just holding that memory inside of her. And walking rather aimlessly. There's no direction. There's just a wandering.
Do you feel like what do you think you need to do in order to come to terms with what's happened? Do you think you need to find a way to commune with Maria? Do you think you need to just sit with it? Do you think you need to... What do you think would... What does Elise think would help bring a little bit of peace of mind?
She doesn't know grief like this. She's never met this kind of grief. When she takes on a human, she realizes that humans are frail, fragile things that are not long for this world. She understands that they live and die and live again. But with a kindred, it's not the same. You are promised eternity. And that eternity was taken so fast with Maria. She doesn't know how to process this. And all she can think to do is to remember her the best she can. Because no one truly dies if they're remembered.
And as you're thinking about all this and remembering Maria and what she did and kind of getting back in touch perhaps with a part of you that had become a bit jaded over time. So many humans, so many of them coming and going, and them leaving less and less of a mark every time. There's a part of you that's reawakened to this, that feels good. And as you're moving through the cemetery and taking in these moments of reflection and quiet contemplation, you suddenly smell blood. You smell blood, very fresh blood, human blood. Fair amount of it.
She's going to quiet her steps and follow that scent. In her mind, I think she half expects to walk up on Arkham on one of his midnight adventures.
Instead, as you walk carefully and peer around the tree, you notice first a gravestone marked Sophie Leclerc 1995 to 2024. Then you see someone moving. You see a young man dressed in black with dark hair lying on his side near the gravestone. The smell of blood seems to come from him. He barely moves. He's growing more and more still by the moment. What would you like to do?
He smells human.
Yes.
Can I see where he's bleeding from?
Not from where you are.
She gets closer.
As you get closer, you notice that there's a notebook and a pen by his side. The page is open, looks like he'd just been writing. Perhaps there's what appears to be an empty bottle of liquor nearby. It's unclear exactly where the blood's coming from, but you can clearly see some of it on the headstone and on the ground, glinting really black in the moonlight.
She gets close enough that she can kneel down and look to the last things he wrote.
There's a strangeness in what he wrote. It's a poem, and some strange ways it mimics your thoughts from earlier as you were first walking through the cemetery. There are several lines of poetry about the cemetery here. Here the trees whisper in a tongue older than language, a slow sighing hymned for the dead, the branches trembling like hands at prayer. Graves lean into one another like old companions, names soft with moss, dates fading into the hush of eternity. Vines curl around crucifixes, gentle as lovers, persistent as time. Every path winds like a thought unfinished. Each shadow holds a secret, a story too quiet to be told in daylight. As you read further down, I feel you here. The night breathes in this place, and the emptiness left behind by your absence has the weight of sepulchres, coldness of marble, and the dark of night. And that's the last thing that is written there.
She looks to the headstone that he's laying at, still on her knees at his side. And then back to the man. She reaches out and brushes loose hair from his face so she can better see him.
You see that he's probably in his early 30s. He's got the look of the forever, the kind of person who just avoids the sunlight. He's got a very pale complexion. His hair is dyed black. But something interesting happens as you touch him. As soon as you touch him, you feel a tingling. You feel that place where that tattoo was earlier, that was moving, that was changing. You feel it tingle.
She looks to it.
As you look down at it, it's slowly transforming, and even though it's still a bunch of esoteric lines, it's starting to look almost like a feather or a quill or something like that, just under your breast, over the rib cage.
It's you. She feels for his pulse.
It's almost gone. There's almost nothing, and his eyes kind of half open a little bit, and he looks at you and he just smiles, and then they close again.
Do I, above table talk, do I know of a way that I can heal him? Anything that I could do for him to perhaps save him in this moment?
Short of embracing him, you mean?
Yeah, she doesn't want to do that.
You get this strange... You remember the thing that kind of comes over you in this moment is the way you felt. You remember again looking through Maria's eyes, feeling yourself inside of her, your soul nestled up against hers, and feeling as if it was you who extended a hand towards you, having drawn your soul inside of her and having taken the pain away from you and taken the damage that was being done to you by the light.
She's going to look for the source of blood on him.
You go to the places you would most expect. His arms, but you don't see anything. You realize that's because he wanted to be able to keep riding. And so you look down and you feel his thighs and you feel that his pants are completely soaked.
She think initially presses a hand there, trying to stop the bleeding.
When you touch there, everything is so weak, the amount of blood that's coming out, the pulse of it, it's just, and the pants feel cold, like he's been bleeding for a while.
I think she's going to try and pull these away from him. I imagine she's also fighting things internally if there's this much blood around.
What's her hunger at?
We never rolled a rouse for when she got up, so she's just at 1.
Excellent. We'll say she's at 1. But that's a very good point. As you kind of move around and the blood now covers your hands, go ahead and give me a rouse check. I know how much you love those.
I'm really good at them. Not. Oh, wow, that was a success.
That's why we got 9 moves. You clamp down on your beast and on your hunger, and you, with a clear head, see that he doesn't have very long. You remember that what you'd been told about the weeping Madonna, who turned out to be Maria, was that she was licking people's wounds. Now, you've heard of licking your own wounds that you inflict on people when you bite them. You know that vampires do that, and it closes the wounds, but not somebody else's wounds. But you remember hearing that that's what Maria was doing.
I think she, after kind of beginning to pull down his pants to reveal this wound, she sucks in a breath to kind of center herself in this moment, fighting back that beast, and squeezes her eyes shut. In her mind's eye, she's painting that picture of Maria that she so vividly remembers, her in the oratory smiling and all that sunlight, and she reaches out to her in this moment in her mind. Help me.
You feel and hear her voice again the way you had earlier. And she says, tell him he's safe, that he's gonna be all right. And then kiss his wound.
Her eyes flutter open and she looks down at that wound. But she doesn't tell him that he's saved. She's not here to save people. Help them, yes. But not save them. And she kneels down and runs her tongue along that gash.
Go ahead and roll resolve plus aspects. And hold on to that thought because Maria just dropped into chat. Hold on to the number. As we dip over back to Arkham's penthouse, where a similar situation is occurring with a bit less licking, but a bit more touching. You have reached out, Soriana, with your hands. You have felt for Arkham's soul, what's inside of him. Go ahead and make a rouse check.
Is, I believe, a success.
Okay. You have to spend a willpower, then roll composure plus aspects.
Okay. Composure. 6. 2 successes.
First off, Ian, can you describe for us Arkham's state of mind currently?
The best way that I could describe it is it's when you give a 4-year-old a pen for the first time and a notepad, and they just kind of just scribble across the notepad because they just want to see how a pen works. It's just a huge ball of confusion and frustration. But if you push past that large frustration, squiggle, rage and anger all mixed up in there, it's very sad. And it's hard to kind of pinpoint where it's coming from.
You feel a massive turmoil. Soriana. There's a lot of various emotions mixed up, kind of a storm of them, but the thing that is strange is that, kind of like what Ian just described, there's something in front and something in back. There's almost kind of like two different sets of emotional cores. And you have done this with people in frenzy before, and you've felt the presence of the beast, but this is a different thing. This is very much like, it's not the beast, it's something else. There's something else that is in there with him, and it's actively trying to skitter away from your ability to sense it. You can feel whatever's in there kind of scurrying around and kind of sticking to the shadows around the back and sort of trying to avoid your gaze, kind of like the hobbits in Mordor. But it's there. And you realize that whatever's been ailing Arkham is not Arkham. That there are no stains on his soul. It's literally as if there is something else in there that's doing these things and accepting these things. It's not like a split personality. It's literally like another presence. You realize you can bring a modicum of peace to him, but it's not going to solve anything or fix anything, because whatever's in there is beyond your ability to soothe or extricate from there. But it is very clear to you that there's something attached to him.
Her eyes, all three of them, are sort of as she's like trying to reach inside his mind and even his soul. Her eyes are flitting about him as if reading words off of a page that he can't see. And eventually he watches as her expression goes from something calm and practiced, like she's done this a million times before, to as if she's had a eureka moment that then turns into sorrow. And slowly her hand leaves him. I saw what was in there. And I can promise you your soul is pure, but this is beyond me.
What does that mean? What?
Sorry. I don't know, and I know that's not the most comforting thing right now. But I've never seen something like this before. There's something in there, almost like a parasite, and you're its host. It's beyond the beast, it's beyond something that could cause you to frenzy. When did this start? Has it always been here?
No, it hasn't always been here. It's been the past few days, week. It's fairly new. What do you mean a parasite? There's okay. Let me get you that contact information, and I think it's best if you leave. Did you need anything else? And you can see like one of his eyes, it's not twitching, but you can see like there's, and it wouldn't be normal with Kindred, but there's veins. They're like reaching in his eye, and he's like, do you need anything else?
Take care of yourself, please, and I'm so sorry.
It was nice seeing you, and I hope that it won't be the last time. If Maria comes back, I will let you know. But here's Elise's information, and he quickly writes down what he has, and he hands it to you. You'll have better luck there. Please go.
She doesn't say anything. She holds the paper in her hand and just nods in resignation, and she just gives him one last look. And this wasn't the woman that he met before. And all he can see is a well of guilt, both at how they met and also what she was not able to do. And she leaves.
What do you do, Arkham?
It's after closing the door, I think it would be appropriate if in this moment I did a rouse check.
Go and do a rouse check.
All right, here we go. Wow. Okay. Well, there's a universe for you. I failed my rouse check.
Well, the beast didn't like any of that. And interestingly enough, you get the feeling that the beast is not angry at Soriana. The beast is angry to realize that there's something stomping on its territory. You belong to your beast. Your beast has been molding you, taking care of you for so long now, and it's just now starting to realize that there's an interloper. And that makes it really fucking angry.
Arkham walks down the hall to where Maria's room is, and it's completely dark. And he stands in the middle of it, and he looks around, and it's just all of this emotional, visceral art. He can't understand it. He's not even going to try. But something is tap dancing, like behind his eye, that is pushing. And he walks out of the room, and he goes to the door where Constance's room is, and he doesn't open it, but he goes, I'm leaving. Just, you know what to do. If you're here when I get back, that's fine. If not, well, it's probably for the best. Just take a car. Any car. I don't care. I'm going to church. Then he grabs a set of keys and he almost like stumbles out.
Where do you go? Just so I know. You are muted.
I go to church, Bleak. My friend said they needed my help, and I think I'm in the right mood to help.
Father, what happens after you hand the steering wheel over?
I wait for it to get handed back and then kind of assess my situation as to where I'm at and what's going on around me.
You find yourself sitting in a bus, as you are wont to do. You look down. Your clothes are clean. Your hair is loose. But you find your regular elastic or whatever you use to hold it around your wrist. When you look and see your wrist, you see a stamp inside your hand for a club. A place on Saint Laurent called China Club. There's nothing else.
Thank you.
It was a good one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you at least sing the song?
You know I did. In key too.
Good job. What did you do?
You'll find out soon enough. Sorry.
Is there anything I need to know immediately?
Your stop's coming up.
That's not what I asked. And I think he grabs the chain. Remember, this hurts you as much as it hurts me.
Yeah, but right now it feels pretty good. It's scratching an itch.
Great.
Yank it a little harder, brother. Just give it another little twist for me.
No.
Oh. Well, fuck you then.
Well, maybe you did.
You step out of the bus, and Arkham parked across the street from St. James Church. The garish neon of the St. James Church sign, throwing this wild 70s videotape red over everything, reflected in the water puddles and in the windows of the buildings nearby. And it's very quiet. There's no one on the streets, which is kind of strange for you. There's just maybe a couple of homeless kids like just around the corner sleeping in a doorway or something. But you see the good father stepping out of the bus with a bit of a spring in his step.
Evening, Father? You take that bus everywhere?
Of course, it's the safest mode of transportation in all of Montreal. I highly recommend it for everyone. You can set your watch by it.
What do you need? I'm not setting my watch by the bus. What's going on? What do you need?
I need you, more importantly than anything. And well, let's go inside, shall we?
You got me out here. You're not gonna put me in a room. Listen, if you're gonna fuck me, just say that. Honestly, it wouldn't be the weirdest thing that happened to me tonight.
To be perfectly honest, I don't think I'd be up to the occasion, given what other proclivities I may have gotten into this evening.
I don't know what that word means, but I'm gonna take it as disrespect.
It wasn't disrespect, Arkham, I promise you. It just means that I'm not entirely sure where I've been or what I've been doing for the past 4 hours.
Same. All right. Lead on. Sir, father, dude. Come on.
Alex.
Let's go. Alex,
yes. And I think he does. He takes him in and he takes him into the father's office where he writes his sermons and everything like that. It would be wall-to-wall books, globes. You would probably see, oddly enough, a handful of finger paintings that have been tacked up to the walls with, various names and such on it. Don't stare too hard at them. And he sits you down. So,
when he sits you down, Arkham, you notice that there are 2 long, red, fake fingernails stuck in his pants, and his pant legs on the side. Like someone had gripped onto his pants and then they'd ripped off.
He doesn't say anything, but he sees it. Okay. So what? You want me to kill somebody?
Well, it could be beneficial to the both of us. Have you heard of this pyramid building that this abomination that they're constructing or intend to construct?
Yeah, I plan to move in when they finish it. Looks pretty dope.
Right. First off, I would advise against it. Secondly, one of the individuals who has a large stake in this particular building is responsible, either directly or indirectly, for the death of somebody near and dear to me, and more importantly, near and dear to the city as a whole. Now, I don't know how many cards you have to play, but perhaps getting rid of this thing could prove useful for both of us.
Give me straight here, Alex. Do you want me to get rid of the building, or do you want me to get rid of a person? You weren't really clear.
Well, I mean, however you choose to make an omelet, I suppose.
You have to crack 3 eggs. It's the premium amount to make an omelet.
Well, I mean, oddly enough that you say that, 3 eggs, 3 points of a triangle. The building is a triangle-like shaped, and therefore, you seem to be the right man for it.
Okay, so who are they?
I don't know who one of them is, but there's the lady in blue, and then there's the Rat King. The Rat King himself told me of the lady in blue, and that removing her would ensure that our fair, decaying, decrepit city would remain as it should be. More importantly, there are several things that seem to be tied together. Tell me, out of all the individuals you've encountered, I have a question for you. Because you are a mover and shaker, as I think. Sort of. Do you remember the red book that was sitting on the prince's desk?
Vaguely, but I do. Actually, I think there was a guy who maybe showed up at the gallery for a small moment that had a red book.
Yes, it's these individuals with the red book that are most interesting because they're all tied to the death of the Grey Nun. You distinctly remember the red book. Remember, it was on the desk just below. We hung that serpent on the cross above the prince's desk. Yes. What was her name? What was her name?
Soriana.
That one.
Soriana.
Yes. I should go see her again. But regardless, why do you say good luck? I've been good standing with the prince.
Red book club, killing people.
Anyway, somehow they're all tied together, and the same token, this lady in blue is also there, and she poses a particular threat to the Rat King. Now, the Rat King, I'm inclined to take his side and this side of the other, and because, well, I have very few threads left that keep me on this thought process, we'll say. And the Grey Nun, she was one of them. She was a mentor in the absence of my whorish sire. And as such, I feel the need to enact revenge on her behalf. She came to me, she spoke to me in a vision, actually, while I was riding the yellow bus. And it was quite an experience, I must say. The walls were bleeding turquoise. It was quite odd. Anyway, the thing is that this woman in blue, who's this Charmaine de Toit, or whatever her name is at the center of this, and she needs to be eliminated. I, however, can find out information, but I lack what you do in the turning things to pulp without a blender.
This is fun, Father Alex. I'm going to go back home. Is there somebody who can look after you for a while? Like, I just don't...
Tell me, Arkham, how loud is the voice inside your head?
Do you want me to eat his face?
What?
The little voice inside your head, the one that tells you to commit all of your acts of atrocity and all of your great artwork pieces destroyed on the regular because of your fits of rage, the wrath that swells within you. How loud is it now?
I know you're bullshit. I know you're bullshitting me now, Father, because I don't have a voice. There's no voice in my head that's telling me to do things.
All
that would make sense.
Them. We all have them. We all have them. You just don't seem to think that you have one because you don't listen to it. And if you listen to it, you can control it. And if you can control it, you'll never be embarrassed again. No one will look at you sideways ever again. And no one will laugh at you behind your back when that little voice takes over and you make a fool of yourself in the video footage.
I don't make a fool of myself. No one's laughing. There's no voice. There's no voice.
Do you want me to eat his face?
I'm not there. I'm not present. I wake up.
Yes. I too have a shadow, much like yourself, and he literally gestures to like nothing standing next to him.
Fucking tell everyone about it.
That's a fuck enough. I'm going to leave now. You're what the fuck are you doing? Is somebody trying to twat or whatever? I'm terrible at French. I don't even know why I fucking live here. I'm going home.
Tell me, before you go, Arkham, do you want the blackouts to stop?
Am I going to be as crazy as you are after you're done?
No, probably not.
I'll take it. It's something. It just don't touch me.
Oh, I won't touch you. No, I won't touch you. Just please sit down, if you will, and we're going to have a little chat. Yeah. Something that obviously you weren't informed of. And I think he walks behind him and slowly closes the office door.
Meanwhile, Something strange happened, Elise. That was brilliant, by the way, guys. Something strange happened, Elise. You did something you didn't think you could do. You ran your tongue along the gash in this man's thigh, and you saw it stop bleeding. He, of course, lost a lot of blood and was still very weak. Did you give him some of yours, or?
I would. Yeah.
You give him enough that his constitution is able to withstand the loss of blood, at least for a few hours, maybe the night, and you signaled Faraday, who came to find you and saw and didn't even ask questions, just picked him up and said, "We have blood at the house."
She would have taken his journal and his pen.
As you flip through it, you notice that he is a poet and quite good.
I don't think she would have read any more of
okay.
it. Yeah, she would have closed it. Only the page it was open to would she have read.
You get back in the car. Faraday says, "We'll be able to take care of him at the house unless you want me to drop him off at a hospital somewhere."
No, we should take him home. He's important.
Very well, mistress. You head back home. It's a short drive over the mountain back to where the house is. You pull up. He says, "Just get inside. I'll handle the package." Soriana, you're standing just outside the gate. You see the car pull up. You see the driver come out, open the door for Elise to step out. You recognize her, of course, from when you were working with her a few months ago. The driver goes around to the other side, perhaps to get luggage or something that's in the car. You don't see Maria anywhere, but Elise is there. What would you like to do?
I think she would wait patiently and politely by the gate.
As you are waiting there, Elise, you hear Maria's voice echo again in your ear, and then she says, "Mother." And when you turn instinctively towards where the sound came, you see, standing by the gate, Soriana.
At first, it's a look of surprise, bewilderment. Her eyes are wide. And very quickly, that surprise fades. Her eyes narrow. And you see blame behind them. Is Faraday still outside?
Yeah, he's gone over to the other side to get the body, and he's about to pull it out unless you say something.
Faraday, go inside. Tell Fletcher we have a guest.
He looks up. Problem?
Perhaps.
He closes the door. He looks over, sees Soriana, heads back inside.
How far am I from Soriana right now?
I don't know, like the driveway, so maybe 50 feet, 60 feet.
She walks about halfway down the drive. Aren't you supposed to be somewhere staked up on a tree?
Yeah.
Why have you come here?
Do you wish to speak outside here?
She looks around. There's not really houses close. It's spread out. You think I'd let you in my house?
No. I came looking for Maria. And I was told she'd be with you.
I look for her now. And you abandon her. What changed?
So you know.
Of course I know. I know a lot of things.
I just want to know where she is.
Why?
Because there are things I need to tell her. Things that I should have and didn't get the chance to.
And you may as well speak them to the wind.
Where is my child?
Gone.
Where?
Dead.
By whom?
Herself.
You see her knees almost start to buckle. And she's still standing, but it's almost as if she's been staked again. When?
Only a few days ago. You see Elise's face begin to soften at your weakness. But she doesn't brave coming closer yet, watching you from afar. Why did you do it? Why did you leave her the way you did? Lost, confused, sightless, like a child pushing through the darkness.
I didn't mean to do it in the first place. It would have been more dangerous to keep her with me. Why do you think I was staked?
Because you made a child when you weren't supposed to, and you didn't have permission.
I had permission. But not for her.
Explain yourself.
Maria wasn't mine to embrace. But I saw her that night, and she was under the cross. And I knew that she would do good. There's this foul sickness. And there was just, I knew that she could heal it. I thought that she could heal it. And it was greater than me. And she's You see, she's dead now.
So you saw her there and you turned her and then you left her. Why'd you leave her?
What would you rather have me do? When I couldn't look after her myself.
I've not done it at all. It's a great responsibility we hold, you know. Being able to do what we do. Being what we are. You are irresponsible.
Do you think I did it to burden her?
Even if you didn't, you did. At least in the beginning. Until she found herself. Until she found me. I was more of a sire to her than you ever were.
You've made your point.
I think Elise is beginning to walk towards Soriana now, getting closer and closer. Do you want to know how she died? Is this what you desire?
I don't desire anything, Elise. But very well.
She died to protect me. She died to save my life. She gave hers for mine. I loved her more than you could understand. I was there from the beginning. And I showed her things and I protected her and I loved her. And she loved me. I can still hear her voice. See her smile.
You were better than I ever could have been. And even if I were to say sorry, I know that it wouldn't be enough.
She's to the bars of the gate now. It's too late for sorry, isn't it?
Always has been.
I think you should make yourself disappear.
I think I should too.
I won't tell anyone I saw you, if that helps.
It won't matter anymore. Give Fletcher my regards, please. And she will try and, if Elise allows, to walk past her.
Shifa, wait. You hear Fletcher's voice.
She turns.
You realize he's been there a while in the shadows listening. He comes down. I'm sorry about Maria.
It's too late for sorries now, isn't it?
You'll have to get out of the city and I can help. I owe you at least that much.
I wouldn't worry about it, Fletcher.
I do. I owe you my life. Let me do this for you.
You can see there's a sort of like finality. through Soriana's eyes where there was a lot of burden on her that she selfishly almost thought she could relieve. It's almost as if she doesn't feel like now she deserves an escape.
Elise looks to Fletcher. It's true. She saved you.
Long time ago, in Damascus. I helped our former prince look after her when she came here, hiding. Long stories, old and buried under mountains of shifting sand, but stories still exist and debts must be paid.
I see. Before I saw you, I heard a voice in my head. It was Maria's voice. She called you mother. And Elise turns and begins to walk back up to the house.
Fletcher watches her go for a moment and then looks back to you. Let me help you. Get you out of the city.
All right.
He looks over, motions. One of the ghouls comes out. You can trust my man here. I'll take you somewhere safe for tonight, and first thing tomorrow night, send someone for you. You'll be out of the city by midnight. Don't tell anyone where you decide to go. Better that way.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't deserve this.
Elise is the single most important thing in my life. The greatest thing in my life, and if you hadn't done what you did, I would never have met her. I met her months after you saved me. And so I'm doing this for myself as much as I'm doing it for you.
You were always a good man.
Hardly. But I at least keep my word. And I am sorry for your loss.
It wasn't mine to lose. Not truly. Take care of yourself.
Good luck. And he turns and walks back towards the house, and the ghoul has brought up a car. I'll get in the back. We'll have one last look at the house. And then the car will drive off. Ledger will stand there in the doorway for a few moments, watch the car leave, then turn to go back inside. And then, my friends, where we will end tonight's session of Black Pentecost.